So I've been working on restoring the old treadle sewing machine, mostly out of necessity. I'm moving, back into my old home, and I don't have my sewing machines with me. So I have 3 very old sewing machines that before were just being used as decoration, but I am going to try to restore the most oldest machine that I have. It's the one that I believe can be revived, and I want to give it a new life. I'm in real necessity because I haven't been able to sew, which is painstaking for me. In any case, I found this really cool company that sells old parts for these old machines. Now, this machine that I have was made in 1883, so it's 120, 40, 20 and another 20, so it's about 150 years old, if not more. What does that say? NFP147C? Is that it? No, N42147C. Well, let's go onto the computer so we can search and find out the real age of this particular sewing machine. Okay, so here we are going to type in Singer machine serial number. How old is your Singer International Sewing Machine Collector Society? Well, that looks right. Let's scroll down. So ours started with an N7 4 N47. All right. Let's keep scrolling down. N45. So it looks like it's somewhere between these two numbers. It's dated September 17, 1900. That's funny because on the machine itself it says 1883. Singer machine serial number database. Serial numbers beginning with an N. So it says registers from to, class machine, quantity allotted, class machine number, date allotted, year allotted. So let's go back there one more time. N47. It's quite curious that the serial number on the machine shows like the 2 7s on that machine look completely different in its typeface. So I don't know, I'm going to just assume that it is N47. So here we are within this range. So yes, it is a Singer 27, that I was completely sure about. There was 30,000 of these made on September the 17th in 1900. Look here, here's another series of machines that are Singer 27 that were made on September 28th. So a little more than a month and 10 days, 1900. These were made in Montreal. I'm curious. What's the next one here? And again, so it seems to be like every month they're producing around 30,000. Here it was only 49,000. 27, 1 month later, they produced another 30,000. I'm going to bet that in December was the same. Look at the number of machines that were made. Yet, what happened to all these machines? Like, where are they sitting? In some barn in Timbuktu? Mine was in a barn in Kentucky. So anyways, it seems to be that that is the case. So 1900, I was wrong. I thought mine was dated to 1883. Well, now we know. There is this place I found. It's called, I don't know if you can see that address. It's called the Sewing Machine Depot. It's based out of Wisconsin, but for some reason this came from Venice, Florida. I'll put a link in the description below. So if you have an old sewing machine that needs restoration pieces, this is the place. I mean, if they had parts that are over 150 years old, then I'm sure they can go further or even earlier into the years. In any case, I wanted to open these up. So many of the pieces on this sewing machine perhaps need to be replaced, but because I'm trying to keep the original parts, I only wanted to restore or replace the ones that I thought were an absolute necessity. And these are the parts here. So we've got this leather belt, so the leather belt that connects from the treadle to the actual sewing machine and gets the sewing machine going. Hey, there's some pieces missing. Wait, is this all I ordered? Oh, I guess so. So these are old school spools. So this is where in modern machines, it's what goes under the feed dogs. This is an old school 1883s, where's the camera? And they're quite attractive. And so that's a little scary for me because the machine is so old. I mean, there was rust on the machine. I'll show you video of it. We had to get a wool metal spoolie and with an electric machine, I mean, really grind into it to remove some of that rust and get to the actual metal plates where you can see the design. A lot of the original design that is on it has been worn away with time. This machine has been sitting in a barn for maybe 20 years after its birth. So it's not in the best visual condition, but the working condition, I hope to get it 100% to where it was before. So this is the belt I'm going to attempt to try to put on. It's actually quite beautiful. It's like a terracotta color and it's made from leather. There's going to be some adjusting that needs to be done. I hope and pray that God will give me the mind to get this on properly because I've got to tighten it in a way that that will keep still on the machine and still spin the treadle. So there's that. So yeah, let's go to that machine and have a look at it. This is the profile of the sewing machine and I'm trying to get all the rust off of this thing here. It was really, really dark. I wish I would have gotten some footage of it, but now it seems to be eliminating most of it and now you can see the actual design under there. Next, I'm going to be taking it across this wheel here and the underside, including some degreasing through the entire sewing machine, including all this soot here.
Ready?
Yeah. This is the front side. This has got a whole bunch of stuff. I've kind of used that WD-40 last time to degrease some of it. It's not going to take off the stickers and stuff.
It's just going to take the oils off. And take all the grease off. And it's really good at what it does.
You see how it's like this rust. I've just sanded the wooden table, which I wasn't going to do until I got the sewing machine actually functional. But I did it anyways. Okay, so the spray paint is dry, which I used on the metal of the Singer sewing machine. Then I sanded the tabletop, and I just used a wet cloth to kind of pick up all that remaining dust. Now I'm going to use this wood finish just to kind of bring the color out. I mean, you're still going to see a lot of these scratches. It is an oil-based product, so it might feel some of these tiny imperfections in the wood, but for the most part, it should do the job. In the process of trying to fix this, we lost one of the sleeves for the drawers, and I'm really saddened by that. We tried to attach it and it just didn't work out for us. I have a feeling it's going to be one-sided and it's going to stay that way. So anyways, the sadness will pass. So you can start to see the color changes. Like here, I just finished painting this. This is wet, so I expect not to see a great change. But I'm just staining it so I can get some of that nice wood color out and not have it look so flat. So we'll continue. This is what the spray paint did. It really brought it back to life. The spray paint that I bought is by Krylon, and it's hammered black, so it gives it this very like matte gray, matte black color. It's really pretty. This is all from the paint job I was doing before, but it is just so beautiful. I mean, I absolutely love the way it's looking. Okay, I've got great news. I've got the old Singer machine running. I was quite skeptical in the beginning, but I managed to pull it off with some help. And I was able to get all the pieces needed, which wasn't very many, but some. At least the components that needed to be changed weren't major components, so that was a great start. Nonetheless, it's working, it's running, and I even managed to get it up here, of course, with some help. The only thing left to do now is to buy a needle for it, or buy needles for it, and they take modern needles, so there will not be any trouble locating those. And then we can start using it, and I will be using it for the several following months because I'm without a sewing machine, as I mentioned. So here I've just wired this belt through the treadle underneath. Sorry, I'm holding it up so I can't really get a good view. One of the major things we were having trouble with was to actually get the gears working. The machine is rusted so terribly that when I was trying to treadle, it just wasn't pushing, and it was making very loud noises. So we oiled it terribly to the point where there is like oil leaking from the interior of the machine to the external part of it. So I'm going to walk a piece of fabric through so to kind of let all the oils drip from the interior out. Um, the reason we had to use so much oil was to get the gears moving, and once we did, now it's awesome. This thing is a tank of a machine. When I think about it, it's quite an awesome thought that this machine is, I think, 130, 140 years old, and it works like a charm. Um, it says a lot about modern machines. Of course, it doesn't have all the new technological gadgets that modern machines come with today, but it still manages to sew clothes quite perfectly. I also went to the antique store yesterday. I was in search of a chair that would complement the sewing machine, something within that same date range. I found nothing, as usual. It always takes a couple of trips to various stores until you find just the right thing. And nonetheless, I'm going to insert some clips of the things that I did purchase at that vintage store. So let me insert that here. So I'm back. I just went antique shopping and I found the most coolest store. I mean, I went in thinking it was going to be, an hour at most because I really love to look at things and kind of discover and fall in love with an item before I actually purchase it. But this store was like a treasure trove of of treasures. It was like everything I saw I wanted to put in my cart, but well, that's just not practical and not financially sound. I was so overwhelmed, and this is typical of me. When I find something I like, I get overwhelmed, and then I don't want anything at all because I just can't control that emotion. So it's very easy for me to just put things back, don't touch them, don't buy anything. So this is what I actually purchased after spending about 3 hours in this amazing store. They had the most divine vintage furniture. From some pieces I found dated back to like the mid 19th century. So it was just absolutely beautiful. Things in there were just stunning. But as always, I left with books. And I just wanted to share some of these books with you because I know they will be in some upcoming videos. As many of you know, I am an art major, art and fashion history, and my first love of any historical age is medieval art. And I found this book in early medieval art, which it just has such lovely old paintings and sculptures and architecture. I mean, it's just filled with everything I love, artwork. So I was really excited to find this, and it was $1.50. This book is by John Beckwith, and he has written other books like Coptic Sculpture, if you're an art historian, and The Art of Constantinople, which is an area that I love to study. So Constantinople was the new Rome following the collapse of Rome, well, as it is known to us now, Old Rome. Today we know it as Istanbul. So I'm really excited about this book. I'll probably be doing some reviews on this book and some of the paintings in here. Also, this is a book that I've been wanting to read for so long. And I've seen numerous copies in bookstores. It's one of those books that you want to get, but you're just not ready to get. Two, it's one of those books that I've always wanted to get, but I just can't get to reading. So I have come up with a new plan because I have been so busy in the last 2 years with various things, personal things, school related things, work and family and moving. As you may know, I am in a new space again, or my old home. And I'm trying to set this back up again. So, anyways, I digress. Um, I purchased the Canterbury Tales. This is one lengthy book. And while I have no current plans to read this, I have set up a new goal for myself. It's a distant goal, but a goal nonetheless. My thought is to just collect the books when I see them, if I like them, purchase them and buy them. And whenever the day comes when I find some actual quiet time, I am going to read this book. This is going to be one of the first ones on that list. I've been wanting to read this book for years. So I finally decided to pick it up and I got it for $3. This is an epic classical book. It's also about the achievements in the Middle Ages. So again, that kind of that era. But it is a beautiful, beautiful book with wonderful illustrations. And so I'm just more than ecstatic to get that. Secondly, is this beautiful leatherback Bible. Now, the reason I bought the Bible is one, because I'm a practicing Christian. But this specific Bible, if you can see, it's like as big as my upper portion of my body. And this Bible, when I saw it, I thought, oh, this is definitely meant for me to pick up. Because not only does it, go through all the books of the Bible, but it has like historical notes and personal profiles of the characters, let's say, although they weren't characters, not fictional characters, but there's like a personality profile on Delilah. And it goes into the history of Gaza. It even talks about here, for example, prostitutes in the ancient world. I mean, the reason I was so intrigued with this Bible is, one, I've never seen anything like it. In all of my studies in history and art history, and the Bible is one of them. It's an ancient text, so therefore it is considered art, particularly when it comes to the depictions of art in these periods that were related to the Bible or that are related to the Bible. So the reason I believe that this book, this particular Bible, was meant for me is because the way that I read. When I read nonfiction books, I tend to have like a computer by my side or my phone by my side because I need to get context of what I'm reading, particularly historical nonfiction. Okay, so this is me. I read a page. And if there's some background that I need to know in order to move forward, I will literally source that background information out. And then I'll spend about 2 hours researching the background before I go back to the book and finish. So I need to have like comprehensive knowledge about what it is that I'm reading. It's just who I am. So reading the Bible in this manner is almost alleviating that madness in my head, and I can stay in one book. I don't have to research outside of this book, although I doubt it. I know myself. But let's say I can eliminate the greater majority of the outsourcing of material for background information. Secondly, is I recently purchased a newer sewing machine, and that sewing machine is also a quilting machine. But I don't know how to quilt. I made a couple of quilts with my great-grandmother and my grandmother's when I was young. And so I ran into this beautiful quilting book. This is, I also paid $3 for this book, but it is such a marvelous book, and I will tell you why. It goes through the origins, materials, tools, patterns, wadded quilting, flat cord stuffing quilting, 16th through the 20th century quilting, and all the different ways to quilt and things to quilt or things that can be quilted. It's got such great content, but it goes down like a German quilt, a woman's embroidered waistcoat, a linen robe in the 17th century,
A man's cotton lappet cap in Italian in the 18th century. I mean, come on. This book is going to be an epic read. I'm really excited about it. And it does show how to apply some of these methods that were used in these historical quilts. So super excited. $3, totally worth the money. I would have paid 100 for that book. Luckily, I found it for $3. And so here's another book that I bought, American's Knitting Book. And this has also got some great contents in it. It's like a how-to. Have I knitted before? Yes, at a young age. And even during my early 20s, my mother knits like insane amounts. She makes everything from dolls to clothes to blankets to, I mean, she is another person who was very, very creative, and who I learned to sew from, and how I've learned to be such a creative person. But this also goes through teaching yourself how to knit, starting a project, crocheting and finishing, creating a design. It goes through sweater patterns, skirts, dresses, knitted accessories for anywhere from infants to women, and then just the practicalities of it and the methods. So this is another great find. I got this one for $1. It has also a step-by-step, lots of pictures, which I absolutely love. So that is what I bought. I know it's nothing exciting after having prompted this video with, I was at an antique store, but like I said, it's just, I was so overwhelmed. What I like to do in moments that I'm overwhelmed like that is I just walk out, I go home, I kind of digest what it is that just happened, and then I think, oh, you know what? I want that. I do want that. I'm going to go back and get it. So there was a painting that was framed from the early 19th century, and it was a clipping of a men in an old butcher shop, and it was really, really cool. Why I didn't get it, I don't know. Well, for the reasons that I just shared with you, but why I didn't pick it up today, I don't know. It was a really easy buy. And then there was a few pieces of old secretarial computer desks, or secretarial desks. Now we would call them computer desks. That wasn't at all what they were called during the time. And a few lamps, like Tiffany lamps. And I'm trying to get a Tiffany lamp to put in that little nook I'm trying to create there. I've got a temporary chair, but the idea is to just really stuff this with shelves, all of my books, which will be coming here from California shortly. And then on the interior here, or on the back side of this wall, is shelves. So I have books right now. I have a dresser there for stuffing material at the moment, or fabric, and then just a bunch of like sewing material until I find something that I can put here. At the moment, I'm not sewing because I don't have my sewing machine, but I hope that will change here soon.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I do also want to say that I will be posting, and I'm working on already, a video of the Singer machine, the history, how it's working, and everything that I hope you will find interesting. More specifically about this particular machine. And what I found is really, really cool.